You've tuned into another edition of The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the City of St. Augustine works from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Director, Melissa Whistle, The Break Room offers a closer look at the different city departments and provides updates on current and upcoming projects and events. And now, your host of The Break Room, Melissa Whistle.
Welcome to The Break Room. We're glad you could join us. The Break Room is a place where we can sit back together for a few minutes and take a break from our daily work, catch up with coworkers, and hear about what's happening in and around the city and in St. Johns County. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Director for the City of St. Augustine. This week, I'd like to start with a question. What comes to mind when you think of mosquitoes? Maybe you like to sit out on the patio when it's not too hot, but those pesky mosquitoes won't leave you alone. Or maybe you'd like to think about having dinner outside, but it's just too buggy. And is there anything you can do about it? What do you do with all those mosquitoes? Where do they come from? Well, joining me this week in the break room, we have two guests from the Anastasia Mosquito Control District, Commissioner Trish Becker, and Science Manager and Entomologist, Dr. Whitney Qualls. Welcome to the break room.
Thanks for having us.
Dr. Qualls and Commissioner Becker, you are going to help answer those questions and maybe give us some tips about what to look for in our own backyards, things that we could be doing wrong. But let's get started. Could one of you fill us in? Give us a little bit of the backstory on how the Anastasia Mosquito Control District, or as you like to call it, the AMCD, came to be.
Well, thanks again for having us. So Anastasia Mosquito Control District started in 1949. We are a independent government agency. Our money comes from property taxes that you pay with a millage rate, which we recently lowered. We're one of 14 independent districts in the state, so not every county has an amazing program like we do here in St. John's. We are regarded as one of the best mosquito control facilities in the entire world.
Wow.
And it's pretty cool. I'll let Dr. Qualls go on.
Yeah, so we have a new facility. It's on 16 acres. But kind of taking it back, right? So we have this great property, this great facility, and it's been because of the support of our constituents in the county because we have been able to provide such great services. So they really, I feel, see like our program as an asset. We have a great operations team. So when we first started, we were only on the island, and then we grew, and now we cover all 609 square miles of the county.
Wow.
And so our operations team are out daily inspecting all the different habitats. So when you're talking about wanting to enjoy being outside, eating dinner, you know, we have a team that's out trying to make sure that you can do that, right? And so if there's ever any problem, you can always reach out to us at our district. We have a great new website that's up and running. So you can make a service request to say, hey, you know, we've been outside. We're noticing a lot of mosquitoes. We're just letting you know. And then our team will take that and, you know, come out, do an inspection, figure out what the problem is. Because obviously St. Johns County, salt marsh, right? We're waterlocked. We have the St. Johns River, and then we have, obviously, the ocean. So we have salt marsh mosquitoes. We have freshwater flood mosquitoes. So there could be a variety of different issues that you could be dealing with.
So there really is. I really can go out in my yard and say, I can't stand all these mosquitoes, but I can go inside and I can call, and your team can come out and take a look at my yard.
Right. And then
evaluate.
Yeah. And so then we'll try to work with you. So for instance, if it is something that you're breeding, like in containers or plastic dishes that are left out or anything that's holding water in your backyard, and that's the mosquito that we find, then we'll give you tips and pointers how to kind of alleviate that problem, right? Because we also want our constituents to be good stewards of the environment and ensure that they're helping protect themselves as well, right? So that's information. Or we might notice that it's salt marsh mosquitoes. And so that information we take back to our operations too and say, okay, this is the area. We know what salt marshes are in that area, and we need to go out and inspect them. So that's good operational information for us.
So you can actually do something. It may not be my yard, but you could look and say, oh, you live near something, and maybe there's an outbreak or maybe there's a heightened activity. And so then you all can go and you'll see what's in that surrounding area.
Yeah, it's real-time, science-driven operations, right? So that's something that we pride ourselves on. And I think the commissioner, like Commissioner Becker, does a great job of promoting how we do science-driven outreach and control.
So, Trish,
When you do call and put in a service request, we used to have 5 different facilities, and now we have one centrally located facility. And our technicians are kind of given a route area. So you have the same person showing up at every visit. So he or she knows your yard and knows what to expect, knows what's nearby. And if you live too close to where potentially chemicals could drain into the water system, we're not allowed to spray there under the Clean Air and Water Act. But we can help you in other ways to find out, like she said, or maybe if it's marshy behind your yard, they can spray the perimeter. So it may not be in your yard, but it's around the perimeter, so they can spray the perimeter.
But it's also educating me as the resident, as the person living in that area or that house, of what I can be doing.
That's right, because then it costs less money for everyone. So the less money we spend, the more money we're saving the taxpayers.
Gotcha.
So the more educated we are, the more dollar signs we don't have to use. So.
Education is so critically important.
Yep.
If you're tuning in right now, you are listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Director for the City of St. Augustine. Joining me today in studio, Anastasia Mosquito Control District Commissioner Trish Becker and Science Manager and Entomologist Dr. Whitney Qualls. We've been talking a lot about, and there's so many things to talk about mosquitoes. And quite frankly, I think maybe some listeners are surprised or haven't thought about what we've been talking about. But Trish, Dr. Qualls is talking about your education and outreach. Tell us a little bit about what you do to do that outreach in the community and help our residents to know how they can be helping with this mosquito.
So I'm one of 5 nonpartisan commissioners on the board, and each board member has its own committees. So I'm the chair of the education committee. We make hundreds of school visits, and this year we haven't been able to do them in person. We work with the science teachers in all the county and do different programs. We can do it anywhere from kindergarten all the way to college. We come to Flagler College and have interns and different programs that we do here. But I just try to get people educated to know. I mean, I don't have a background in science. I didn't know anything about mosquitoes. I was just a mom whose son couldn't play outside. And that's how I got into this, because my technician came out and showed me exactly. He has a pamphlet. He's going through books. We're looking at different species. There's about 3,000 different mosquito species worldwide. In Florida, there's around 80. And in our county, there's about 45 different species.
Wow.
So, and we're not out to kill all the species. There's a lot of mosquitoes that do good. And one of the best educational tools is dropping knowledge bombs, as I call them, and letting you know things like only female mosquitoes bite.
Really?
They want your blood so they can feed their babies. The males are off pollinating. Mosquitoes are big pollinators. And so we don't want to lose our pollination, because they help out the bees and make our flowers pretty. And other things like it only takes 1 bottle cap full of water to breed 200 mosquitoes in 5 days.
Oh, wow.
So I work with our educational specialist, Eddie, and Dr. Qualls, and we go out and we try to let people know things.
And it should be, that you brought up a great point. We only have 45 mosquito species here in St. Johns County, but only a handful of those actually feed on humans. So many others don't actually even feed on humans. They mainly feed on birds, reptiles. And we have about 10 of those that play an importance in transmitting diseases, right? So we're not only nuisance control for mosquitoes, but we serve a public health purpose. Mosquito-borne pathogens, West Nile virus is something, that we're always concerned about in this county. And then if you look at a global perspective, you have malaria, which still so many people are suffering from, and other mosquito-borne viruses like dengue, yellow fever, Zika.
Yeah, I was going to say, we had Zika here a couple of years back. There was a lot of education and public outreach with Zika.
Yeah, because that was an exotic introduced mosquito-borne virus that was having a huge impact. And it's one of the first ones that we've ever seen to be also sexually transmitted and transmitted, in different ways. And so it became a huge concern, especially for those individuals that were starting to plan a family or were expecting. And so, we have done a lot in this county since then to really make sure that we know the distribution of those vectors within the county and to evaluate new strategies to control them. That's one of a lot of funding that we're receiving from granting agencies is to evaluate new strategies and control techniques to control these two important vectors that transmit Zika.
And up until this year, mosquitoes have been the #1 killer of humans.
Wow.
That's over war, famine, anything else. It's 1 million people a year that are dying from mosquitoes, from these one single bite, and millions more that have pathogens in their brains and neurological things that they're going to have a hospital care for the rest of their lives. So it's a really big deal. We haven't had any outbreaks since 2006, and we plan to keep it that way.
Right. So to that, when you talk about spraying, and you mentioned before about some of the chemicals you can't spray just because of environmental concerns, that is a big issue that we often hear from the public when we've put something out on social media about, they're going to be out spraying overnight, or look for the fogging trucks in your neighborhood. And we get all kinds of comments from people about, you're killing us, you're killing our pets. It's scary. What can you tell us about that method of how you all spray and what it is in that treatment that makes it safe?
Well, I can tell you real quick that I used to be one of those people.
Okay.
Before I learned more. I was one of those, I was like, don't spray my yard. I don't want that. And now I'm like, oh.
So the label is a law, right? So any pesticide product that we use, we have a label, a EPA registration, and we have to follow that label. And it gives us specific guidelines to ensure that we're protecting the environment, that we're protecting public health. And so we're following those guidelines to ensure safety, right? So we have a certain dose. Dose is always the poison, right? If you think about it, too much water, too much sun can all have a negative impact. So we follow those guidelines. We do a lot of actual pesticide efficacy evaluation of the products that we use at our district. So that's part of our applied research program, ensuring that what we're applying is safe to everyone, that we're avoiding non-target impacts. So yes, we have to use pesticides to control mosquitoes. We mainly try to target the immature stage, so we use a natural bacterium for that. So it's considered kind of a biological control. Okay. But when we do go out fogging, everything that we use is safe. We follow those guidelines. We take multiple steps to ensure, human safety, non-target, animal safety, as well as for our own technicians, for ourselves. We have to ensure that we're also safe, right? And so, we want to ensure the public that we have their best interest at heart, that we have their public health in consideration, and we are, doing things that are tried and true, and continuing to evaluate them to ensure that they continue to stay that way.
And keeping our community maybe not mosquito-free, but mosquito managed.
Yes.
Free from life viruses.
There you go.
And protecting our bees.
Excellent. Ladies, I hate to say it, but we are running out of time. So we are going to wrap up, but we are going to have you back. I think we just barely scratched the surface of what we can talk about.
For sure.
I know that the facility out off 16 is a relatively new facility. It came out and it was opened in 2016. And before we go away, want to make sure to give everybody the web address, which is AMCD SJC. Sounds like a lot of letters. AMCDSJC.org. And that would be the abbreviation of Anastasia Mosquito Control District, St. Johns County.org. People can go out to the website. You can call for an appointment and have a technician come out to the house. And we're going to just have to ask you both to come back so we can continue this conversation.
And can I just add real
Absolutely.
quick that the service requests are free because you've already paid for it with your property taxes.
Wonderful. So
thanks for having us.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to having you both back. As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions about mosquitoes. If we didn't, take a minute to drop an email. Send that email to info@citysanog.com. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city and in St. Johns County, and most importantly, that you hear it here from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. So remember, in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. Be sure to like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Remember, with Nights of Lights underway right now, we want to remind our residents and visitors to mask up and be a mask hero. If you're out and about enjoying the holiday lights, be sure to have your mask handy, whether you're indoors or outdoors, in crowded areas where social distancing is not possible. And we appreciate everyone doing their part to keep St. Augustine safe and healthy. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program addressing projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. Join us each week as the city's communications director, Melissa Whistle, has in-depth conversations with the people who make our town work to meet the needs of our community. The Break Room is produced by communications specialist for the City of St. Augustine, Cindy Walker, and engineered by Flagler College communication major, Lily McNeil. See you at this time next week for another edition of The Break Room.